Ableism as Animal, Monologue 4. Sharks don't believe people have long COVID. I hurt, I'm tired, and a lot of people don't believe me. There are many presentations of long COVID, but fewer reactions from healthcare providers. 1. Disbelief. No positive test or no diagnosis, common. 2. Non-serious belief. Placed on a 9-month waiting list for some services, which is also extremely common. And 3rd, real belief. Connection to services, but those services are not only mostly unaffordable, but are difficult to utilize practically. Honestly, multiple medical and therapy appointments a week for a patient with chronic fatigue, it shouldn't take a disabled person to explain why that is unrealistic. From the health system's perspective, the hope for 1, 2, and 3 is that patients will improve or disappear on their own. So why bother with the appointments? A lot of patients really do just give up. So if you can't give us medicine for the symptoms of long COVID, there are a lot of other medicines that the disabled community does need. Things like disability rights law enforcement, community input and control of hospitals, national paid sick time and medical leave, ongoing public education about long COVID, affordable housing and eviction moratoriums, universal basic income and universal health care, reductions in administrative burden on everything, and spaces to memorialize those who were lost during the pandemic. Something I haven't heard talked about hardly at all is the intersection between psychiatric hospitalizations and long COVID. What are the experiences of people with long COVID in psychiatric hospitals? How does having long COVID increase your risk of having a mental health emergency? How does being mad and systemically marginalized increase your risk of getting long COVID? How many people get COVID and thus long COVID as a result of psychiatric hospitalizations? We need people with lived experience surviving systems to have control over how they are designed and implemented. Otherwise, this mess will just keep growing. Where is the representation of long COVID patients at the health system and health policy levels? Where is the representation of long COVID patients in shaping mental health policy? Why don't we have say and control? Particularly with limited resources allocated to long COVID, the long COVID community's voice and priorities should be centered. End of Monologue 4.